All right, welcome back to another live broadcast of the Money Lab podcast from the Six Figure Academy. I am your host, Wei Hong from the Six Figure Academy. Now, this is the podcast where we give you tips, strategies, and interviews with other entrepreneurs like the one we have today on how to create that ultimate six-figure entrepreneur lifestyle free of bad money stories, money anxiety, and stress so that you can monetize your dreams and execute your genius. Now, if you haven't already downloaded our free ebook From Money Anxiety to Six-Figure Mastery, make sure you go to go.thesixfigureacademy.com and get it there. It's the perfect complement to all the things we discuss on the show, and quite frankly, it could change your life. Now, if you are joining us live today and you are not on YouTube live with our guest, make sure you get on Spreaker.com or download the Spreaker app on your mobile device and search for the hashtag #TheMoneyLab so that you can join us in the chat room and ask questions, interact with us and our guests, or even request a specific topic to discuss with our guests that will help support you in your quest for the ideal six-figure lifestyle. Now, while you're there, subscribe so that you don't miss an episode and can catch us every week. For all other ways to find us, go to thesixfigureacademy.com/radio for all the details. Now, if there is something you love about what you hear on this episode today that you know could help someone you care about, remember, sharing is caring. So share the show to that person. So I'm really excited about the guest that we have on our show today. I just had a chance to connect with him for the very first time. And holy cow, I had to make sure I just knew right from the get-go I had to watch the clock because we just went off the rails. Now, before I bring him on officially, let me give you a little bit of background for those of you who don't know who Joe Apfelbaum is. He is the CEO of Ajax Union, a successful B2B digital marketing agency based in Brooklyn, New York. Now, Joe is a business strategist. He's a marketing expert, a certified Google trainer, and he actually enjoys speaking and writing about marketing, business networking, personal development, and seminars, webinars, and articles. I mean, he is a total giving personality, and I cannot wait for us to have this conversation with him because he's also a host of a bunch of other popular podcasts called The Breakthrough Maze or Inc. 5000 Podcast and CEO Mojo. Joe has been featured on popular other podcasts aside from this one, including Entrepreneur.com podcast and the B2B Revenue podcast. And there's so much more. I could just kind of read this, but that'd be really boring because I'd rather just, like most people, hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So welcome to the show, Joe. You are on the air.
Oh, thank you. I love being on the air, and I also love being in the air. That's why I do jumping selfies when I'm out running in the morning.
I noticed.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't already figured out, this is gonna be one of those episodes which is you don't want to miss any part of it because Joe is such a dynamic speaker, and I was so pleasantly surprised because before I got a chance to talk to him or even watch his video, I saw his picture. I was like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, as soon as he opens his mouth, as soon as he steps out from behind the beard and under the yarmulke, so to speak, it's a completely different person. So thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about the things that we're going to talk about on the Money Lab.
Yeah, the Money Lab. So let's get that piece out of the way because, part of the Money Lab podcast is all about people sharing their money stories. Wherever you are in your business as an entrepreneur, what was the money story that you grew up with that either impacted you in terms of helping you create financial success or created speed bumps along the way to your success financially?
I'll get right into it. So for me growing up, I watched my mother in her store. So my mother was the entrepreneur. My father is kind of like the learned person who was out there always trying to learn. And my mother was out there trying to make money. She's like, we need money. We can't just sit around and wait for things to happen. So she opened up a store on the Lower East Side. And whenever I could, I would go help her in her store to be able to do what she needed to do. Now, over the course of 10 years, she didn't really make it. She never really had that six-figure income that we all aspire to have so that we can buy the home of our dreams, so that we can have everything that we need in our life. And I always wondered, why wasn't she lucky? Because she would always talk about luck. My mother was the type that she would always buy me a lottery ticket. She's like, you got to buy the lottery ticket and you have to ask for cash value because otherwise they're going to give you 26 payments and you may not even see your money. If you're going to win, you got to ask for cash value. Don't forget. So every time I would go buy one and I would try to get lucky. And she's like, the wheel of fortune turns. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's bad. It just hasn't hit me yet, she would always say. And after 10 years of trying, she went out of business. Like most business owners, go out of business within 3 to 5 years. They're out of business. She lasted 10, 9/11 threw her out of business. And when I started,
what kind of business was it again?
she had a boutique. She had a ladies' clothing store. And the crazy thing is, when I started my business, within 18 months, we hit 7 figures in revenue, and then we doubled to be one of the fastest growing companies in America. So when I was writing my book, and I was thinking to myself, what are the stages that I had to go to? What were the 7 stages to 7 figures? What did I need to go through? The first stage was beliefs. I had to look at my self-limiting beliefs. And one of the beliefs that I found, not just in my mother, I've spoken to over 10,000 business owners on behalf of Google as a certified Google trainer, and I see this over and over and over and over. Business owners are trying to get lucky. And I always tell people, luck is a good thing. Luck is just not a good strategy. Luck is a great thing, right? Luck will make you a living, or it might make you a living, or it might not, but it's not going to make you a fortune. And if you want to be fortunate enough to have good luck, have a good strategy and work your ass off, because luck is the intersection between hard freaking work and preparation. Because 80% of people who win the lotto lose their freaking money within 3 years. A statistic. Go Google it. There's real statistics about this. And another 16% commit suicide because they have everything they ever wanted. Now that they have money, they accelerated everything, and now they're no longer talking to their family. They're like completely weren't ready for the money. They weren't ready. If you want to grow, Jim Rohn says, if you want your business to grow, you need to grow. And if you don't grow, you're not going to be able to handle the money. You're not going to be able to handle the truth, because the money is the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle. You want to hear the truth? You can't handle the truth. And it's true. You cannot handle it, because the truth will drive you freaking mad. And at the end of the day, there are 3 self-limiting beliefs that small business owners have. And you guys listening to this, you probably resonate with this. The first one is luck. Not having a strategy and just hoping for the best, trying to get lucky. I hear this over and over and over and over, people trying to get lucky. The second one is trust. I don't trust my employees. I don't trust the government. I don't trust my competitors. I don't trust myself. Lack of self-confidence, right? Self-confidence is self-trust. And then the third thing is being able to change. My mother always used to say, stop trying to change everything. If it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
You know what I said? I said, Ma, you are broke. Fix it.
So you grew up with a belief system, obviously. I mean, how did you buck that? Because so many people grow up with that similar type of background. When you're watching their parents, you love your parents, and so you're learning from your parents. And how did you decide to buck the reliance on luck to create success?
I was 17 years old, and I did not have a computer. And I went to my mother and I said, Ma, I have a problem. She's like, what's your problem? She's like, you sent me to school to be a rabbi, and I have no idea how to make money. And I don't feel very lucky right now because I have no idea how to use a computer. I'm 17 years old. It's 1995 or whatever it is, 1997. I'm like, Ma, we need to do something about this. She started crying and she said, get into the car. I said, okay, this is weird. We got into the car and she took me to the library and she said, go in there. All the information available is in there of how to use a computer. Anything you want to learn is in there. So go in there, get a stack of books, come back home, figure it out. Figure it out. She's like, I have nothing else to tell you. I didn't go to school either. I don't know. Go figure it out. So I walk into the library. I got a bunch of books. I took them home and I learned how to fix computers. And once I learned how to fix computers, I started getting books on how to build websites. And once I started to learn how to build websites, I built websites for people. I built computers for people. I started learning that from books, I can learn skills. And the more skills that I have, the more money that I can make. So I quickly learned that it wasn't necessarily about me getting lucky. It was about me searching and changing. And I learned that I was a learner. I can learn. I can learn anything. I can be anything. I just have to go out, get the information. And if I get the information, I will get lucky. And that's basically what happened. And over time, I still believed in luck for a really long time until I started analyzing businesses and realizing the most successful people are not just lucky. They're also prepared. They're not just lucky. They're ready. They're ready. It's not their first business. It's not your first rodeo. It's usually not. Look at Warren Buffett. When he was 40 years old, he wasn't a filthy rich person. Look at Tony Robbins. When he was 40 years old, he wasn't a filthy rich person. I went to 2 Tony Robbins events, and both of them, he said that the average speaker speaks 1 time a week for a year if they're aggressive. He said he's going to speak 3 times a day. 3 times a day, he said he was going to speak. That's how he was going to become the greatest speaker in the world.
Is that why
And
his
I
voice is
watched it.
all raspy now and just kind of like tore
And he
up?
destroyed his voice. He tore up his whole voice because he did it so often and he didn't get voice lessons. He was cheap on voice lessons. That's what. So don't be cheap. Don't be cheap on coaches. Get coaches. They'll teach you the secret way to not get screwed. You got to model success. You know, sometimes you got to have a taste of your own medicine. Right. But at the end of the day, he told a story that after 20 years of him speaking, right? He's 40 years old. He had a COO or somebody that was running his business that took $250,000 from his business, and he almost put him out of business. He was already doing 310 days out of the year he was speaking. He needed to speak 365 days out of the year to make up for the 250,000 that he lost from the COO. So it just shows that after 20 years of him doing this thing 3 times a day, working his ass off, 250K almost put him out of business. So you see how far, and now he's, you know, close to $1 billion. He has 17 companies. He's worth billions of dollars in net worth, but that's years and years and decades and decades and decades and decades of him killing himself to get there because he's so hungry and so driven. And when entrepreneurs tell me 3 years passed and I'm still not a billionaire, what the hell's wrong? I look at them and I'm like, what the F is wrong with you? Like, seriously, what is wrong with you? What's your goal? I don't know, as much as possible. Really, your goal as much as possible. No wonder why you're not getting to where you want to go. You don't even know where you want to go.
Right. So I love what you're saying there. So obviously, I mean, is a unique formula. I mean, because you were able to achieve more than what Tony Robbins did in 20 years in 18 months with your business. And it doesn't even matter what vehicle, what industry, what space that you're in. I mean, I feel that you actually realize that it does, even if it's not in the digital marketing space, that there is a particular approach that would actually be able to shortcut what these giants have created in the past so that we can actually do it faster, quicker, and better.
There are billionaires being produced every single day. The rate of billionaires are happening faster and faster and faster. And I could see the first trillionaire starting to come out right now, jump out. But the reality is there is a very specific formula. And for me, the formula was my 7 stages to 7 figures, which was identifying your self-limiting beliefs, because your beliefs create your actions and your actions create your results, and your results create more beliefs, and nothing happens outside of action. So you need to get into action, but the only way you're going to get into action is if you get results, and the only way you're going to get results if you have the right beliefs. And so it's kind of like a vicious circle of your limiting beliefs stopping you from taking action, which will stop you from getting results. So you just have to do no matter what, or get a coach to help you be able to see those beliefs, because if you're in the freaking jar, you cannot read the label. I tell this to all my clients. If you're in the jar, you can't read the label. So you need someone to read the freaking nutrition facts and freaking tell you that, dude, if you want to get skinny, don't freaking eat those freaking jelly beans. Don't eat the jelly beans. You're going to get fat. And they're like, whoa, jelly beans are fat free. Like, you're such a dumbass. Jelly beans are fat free, huh?
Yeah.
So
and you're saying this not because you were born skinny or anything like that. You lost how many pounds?
I lost 95 pounds over the past 5 years, and I kept it off. That's the key. A lot of people make money and lose money. Right. A lot of people lose weight and then gain it all back in this thing called the yo-yo diet. I don't know if you ever heard of the yo-yo diet, but it's kind of like...
I know the yo-yo money diet, where you make a lot of money, you lose it, and you bring it back again.
You make it, you lose it, you make it, you lose it, you make it, you break it, you fake it, you take it. And then what happens? And then you're all depressed thinking, I'm just not lucky. Life just sucks. People are just bad. And you're blaming and shaming and complaining. Instead, take responsibility for your own life. Take responsibility and realize that your success is limited to your own personal growth. And if you're not prepared for success, it's not coming to you.
Now, here's a big thing that I often come across with people who aren't quite there yet. And then they hear someone like you who is successful, is doing it, and you're talking about all these principles as well. Yeah, it's easy for you to say because you're there already. What are some of the other limiting beliefs that you had to painfully kind of buck and get through to, and what is the mindset that you had to have before you were able to achieve the financial success you have today?
I always thought that if you had the right skills and you had the right luck, that it would work, that life would just work. You get the right skills, and I learned all the skills. I became the #1 paid IT guy in my Brooklyn area. I was getting over $300 an hour to go do IT. And then one day I realized that If I'm charging per hour and just doing all the work myself, I had a full-time job and 7 side hustles. I had a full-time, very good job. I was getting paid 6 figures, and I had 7 side hustles, and I still wasn't making enough for me to be able to justify what I was doing. I was working 16 hours a day, working my ass off, and I realized I was missing something. There was something that I was missing because I had all the skills. I was the #1 SEO guy. I was the #1 web designer. I was the #1 IT guy. I was buying stuff on Craigslist, selling them on eBay. I was doing construction. I was doing like everything an ADD person that you could think of can do at one time, all at the same time.
Construction, like building things and tearing things down and all that stuff?
I would do I would actually I had a very specific niche. They say the riches are in the niches. I had a very specific niche. In our Jewish community, there's little huts that everybody builds for 7 days, like during the holidays. They build these huts outside their house called a sukkah, Sukkah. If you never heard of it, Google it later. Anyway, they build these little sukkahs, and the people that are wealthier, they don't really have the wherewithal to build their own sukkah. So what I figured out very quickly is there's quite a few wealthy people, there are hundreds of them, that their husbands have 2 left hands, and they want somebody to come build it. So I decided to get my father's toolbox, borrow a car, and build it initially. And then eventually, year after year, I had a crew of like 4 different cars going around to 400 homes during a 3-week season doing this construction work. It was amazing.
Yeah. That sounds a consummate entrepreneur you are. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, it was all about like, okay, there's a limit. There's something wrong. And I realized that I was missing something called focus. I was missing something called focus because I had so much energy. But if you focus your energy like this, it's going to be like the sun, right? The sun.
Incandescent bulb, right?
Right, like the sun is very, very powerful, but if you take a laser, you'll be able to cut a diamond with a laser. So what I realized is I had to take all my focus, and when I found the right partner, so I focused on one partner, and I focused on one business, and I focused within my business selling one product to one audience, then I was able to skyrocket to be one of the fastest growing companies in the US. And I took that lesson of focus, which is one of my 7 stages of 7 figures. It's actually the center one, which is kind of like the centerpiece of success, which is the focus. So the first one's belief, the second one's failure, the third one is work, then comes focus, then relationships, then fears, relationships, and purpose. So it's kind of like 2 wings. And so focus is kind of like the head. If you don't have focus, you're kind of living hocus pocus. You're kind of like trying to do magic. It's not going to work. It's like you have to be super focused. And people say, I don't have time to focus. I said, you have as much time as anybody else. Everybody has time. You just don't have the right priorities. You cannot manage time. You could only manage your priorities. So once you figure out what your priorities are, then you could start appropriately. Somebody told me this morning, a coaching client. I was coaching somebody this morning, and he's like, Joe, how do you have time to run every morning? I said, one of the roles called self is a priority to me. They say if you don't wear your oxygen mask, how are you going to be able to put on oxygen masks on other people? I need to breathe.
Yeah, you need to breathe. You just going a mile a minute. No, it's so funny because I love that oxygen mask, and I think most entrepreneurs at some point they realize how important that is, and they use that metaphor that I always talk about how people use they always tell moms, right, mothers of kids on the airplane to put on the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on the kids. And I always have this very kind of like disturbing image of like this plane that crashed, and through the wreckage they found this mom and their kids, and then she doesn't have her gas mask on, and the kids' gas masks are all in like their ears or whatever, just because she was like getting delusional and stuff like that. Is that weird? Is that is that troubling?
That is very troubling. That is troubling. But at the end of the day, they're called oxygen masks, not gas masks. Yeah. So that's why they crash, because they had
oxygen is the gas, though, right?
I don't know. Maybe I never went to school.
So for people who are wondering stuff like that, well, this guy must be single. This guy must have nothing else going on except his business. Maybe a pet, maybe a goldfish that is trying to read the label that he slapped on there from his owner.
I am not single. I am not single, but I am unique.
Yeah, you are absolutely unique. So you do have a full-blown family and then some, right? You have a wife. You have how many kids?
5 children. 5 children. 3 girls and 2 boys. Yep.
Beautiful. How old are they?
So 12. My oldest is 12. My youngest is 2. So I got everything in between.
Holy cow. Wow. Busy man. Busy wife.
And I love every single one of them. Every single one of them. My wife just came out with a book. I'm going to give her a quick shout out. She came out with a book called Millennial Kosher, and she sold 15,000 copies in the first week. So she's like a celebrity on her own. She has a blog called Busy in Brooklyn. So you go check her out on Instagram. She has over 40,000 followers, and she kills it over there. She just gave my book a shout out, so I have to give her book a shout out. My book is called High Energy Secrets: How I Lost My Weight. People say, Joe, how'd you lose it? I said, I wrote a book. It's 90 pages and it's ADD friendly. Buy it on Amazon.
Right. But yeah, that's not the only book you wrote, right?
Yeah, I wrote 3 books. One of them is called Average Joe to CEO. Another one is called Before the Idea. But this is the one I'm most proud of right now because I want to sell 125,000 copies of this one. The reason I want so many people to buy this book is because there's so many facts about health and about energy that so many people don't know, that I didn't know, that nobody talks about. I'll give you an example. Most people are walking around in a dehydrated state. And there's science that shows that a 5% drop in hydration is a 30% drop in energy. If you're a CEO and you want to be successful, you need energy. Energy is everything. Energy is God. Energy is matter. Everything is energy. So you need to learn how to have more freaking energy. If you want to be motivated, you have to be hydrated. So anyway, I talk about that in this book.
And in that intensity as well. When you read the book, they can actually literally hear you in their ears.
Yeah, people say it's funny, it's cute, it's amazing, it's so easy to read. I have a bunch of Amazon reviews. People are liking it, So for me, it's like, how can I make an impact? I finally got to the other side, and now I'm back on the boat to go get the other survivors. That's what somebody told me. He's like, Joe, you made it. You're fine. You own your home. You own your vacation home. Your business is running. You could just be on the golf course chilling with your CEO buddies, but you're back down there with everybody else is trying to figure it out in the Brooklyn basement, in my little man cave with all my toys and my bicycles and my freaking like beat machine and all the stuff that gets me excited. You're here helping the people and supporting the people. And I'm really proud because this is my passion. My passion is supporting entrepreneurs. I want to help 1,000 hungry entrepreneurs go from frustration to motivation. This is what lights me up.
Right. So here's the thing. It's like, I mean, have you ever been told by people like that your energy is so big that it's borderline intimidating to someone who's like struggling in their business or thinking about, elevating their business? How do you cross that chasm? Because I've been told a lot of times I have fire hose people to the point where it's like a really dense brownie and they can only take a bite of me once every 2 months. So tell me how you navigate that piece where you're trying to help these people and these people are just starting out or they've been struggling for so long. They're just like totally depleted and wilted and everything like that. How do you get them to kind of listen and just kind of hang on to and take in what you're saying?
When I coach people, I just go where
Who's that?
Oh, this is Rosie. She came to visit me. So one of my favorite things when I get to work. So Tuesdays and Fridays, everybody gets to work from home, and I leave my office door open because I actually want her to come and disturb me because this is what my life's about. This is my purpose right here. I love her. There is no disturbing me. And when she gets tired of me, she'll go off on her own and do her own thing. She's 2 years old, and
oh my gosh, she's adorable. Oh my gosh, she's magical. So cute.
She's magical. So when I'm coaching people, with the approach that I take is I go where you are. Wherever you are, that's where I go. So I don't the energy that I show here, or that I show when I do seminars, or when I show in my Facebook group. I have a Facebook group called the Mojovation Facebook group, MOJOVATION, that you just joined. Thank you for being a member. So the energy that I show there is not the energy that I give you when I'm working with you one-on-one or when I'm working with you in a group. The way that I operate is that I try to figure out, okay, where are you right now? Because coaching is not the same as consulting. Coaching is not the same as consulting. For me, it's asking questions, trying to figure out where are you at? And what do you want to create for yourself? Whatever I have for myself, that's what I have for myself. I want to know what do you want to create in your own life? How do you want to take your life to the next level? So wherever that is, that's where I can help take you by creating a little awareness, by creating a little strategy. All right, she wants to be with me. That's what she wants.
Oh,
She
she
wants to
wants
be
to be
with
with
me.
Dad.
So I basically take people through a 3-step process. Step number 1 is awareness. Step number 2 is strategy. And step number 3 is accountability. So what does that mean? Awareness means help you be able to see your blind spots. I help you be able to identify what your goals are. Most people don't know what their goals are. They haven't even inspected their dreams to identify what they want. So you need a coach, whether it's Way or whether it's anybody else, to work with you to help you figure out what you don't see. You're not seeing things. And because you're not seeing things, you're living like a blind person and in the dark. Instead, freaking put on your glasses and see life from a new perspective. And that's going to change everything. You know, the right strategy will save you a decade. The one thing that we all are lacking is time. There is no lacking of resources. There's only lacking of resourcefulness. So we're lacking time. So we'll stop wasting time and implement the right strategy. When I figured out the right strategy to lose weight, the weight fell off and stayed off. That's why I wrote about it. When I figured out the right strategy to get to a 7-figure business over and over and over and over, that's it. Once you know it, you know it. You know how to grow a 7-figure business. I know how to grow a 7-figure business. So why does 96% of business owners in America doing less than $1 million in revenue? Is it because they don't want to have a good life? Is it because they wake up in the morning, say, oh, I love being paycheck to paycheck. I love not being able to buy stuff for my family for Hanukkah or for Christmas. No, it's because they don't have the right strategy and they're trying to get freaking lucky and they don't trust employees and because they don't want to change. You have to be like the butterfly and be prepared to spread your wings and fly. But before that, you're going to have to freaking go through that cocoon. And it's painful. It's uncomfortable. But being comfortable is for when you're dead. That's when you'll be comfortable. Right now, you're alive. To be alive is to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Finding comfort in discomfort. So it's fascinating because, everything that you talk about, I talk about with just not as much intensity because you got so much energy going on. I have a lot of energy too, but wow, holy cow. I'm amazed. This is really cool. I'm really excited. So the thing about what you went through here is like, it's so almost hard to believe how someone that you went from rabbi to a multimillionaire. I mean, that's a path in itself. That's a journey in itself. And that's probably why you also do comedy on the side, right?
Yeah, the reason I do comedy is because I have 3 core values. One of them is curiosity, creativity, and levity. So if I'm not having fun, I'm not doing it.
Right. So speaking of curiosity, I need to introduce you to one of my upcoming guests, and I was also on her podcast. She specializes in helping people elicit their curiosity. Dr. Diane Hamilton, quick little shout out to her. So I'll make an introduction when we're done here because you should be on her show as well. But what's cool about this particular thing is your mom was relying on luck. What was your biggest influence in breaking away from that, and how you knew? Was it just something that you just kept going to the library and you kept learning about brute force on your own? Or is it some wisdom you brought in from a previous lifetime? Or was there some mentor or coach out there that said, Joe, this is what you got to do, in terms of all these different things? Because I know my process that I have for my students and clients is a combination of my own journey, me going through my own process, my mentors, my coaches, the books, everything that I put together and I pieced together in a specific way to make it work. What were your process in terms of how you were able to kind of break away from that generational belief systems?
So for me, it was all about trial and error. I never believed in coaches. When I was growing my business, I thought I was the smartest person around. And I kept adding more revenue and trying things on my own. And I was like, I don't need coaches. I got it all figured out. I got this covered. And at some point, I just got stuck because I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm running out of cash. I have no idea what's going on. And I hired a Vistage coach. Her name is Diane. And she basically broke it down for me. She's like, Joe, you don't have the right strategy and you're just trying to get lucky. And that'll only get you so far. And I realized that my strategy was flawed. I had to completely change my whole business. And in that moment, I realized holy crap, my whole life I've been trying to get lucky. And I'm never going to get lucky. I'm never going to have the wife of my dreams that I want to have unless I become the man of her dreams. I'm never going to have the business of my dream unless I come up with the right strategy and treat my employees the way they need to be treated, instead of just saying that I can't trust them, they're not as smart as me, whatever, all the self-limiting beliefs I had around trust and all that stuff. And I'm never going to be able to have my health. I'm not suddenly going to lose weight. And I know I don't have big bones. I thought I had big bones. I'm like, oh no, I'm just fat because I have big bones. Dude, I don't have big bones. I have a big appetite. That was my issue.
I was just fat. So I love this because you are probably easily, I mean, and this may be the challenge of someone who's built like you, just designed like you, to be a one-man show, because you could absolutely get away with it. There's a part of me, like, I mean, both of you and I are kind of the same way, is that if there was nobody else around, we would hunker down. We could do everything in the company that we needed to get done. But at the same time, is that the way to scale? Is that the way to be able to get to 7 and 8 figures and beyond? Probably not, right?
Probably not. Yeah. So if you read the E-Myth, I don't know if you've ever read the E-Myth, or you read Traction, or you read Scaling Up, or there's so many books about this stuff that say if you're the entrepreneur, if you're just like a self-employed person, you're limited to your own abilities. And I heard Jack Daly say, if you don't hire an assistant, then essentially you are an assistant. So you could be an assistant if you want and do all the things the assistant does, but shouldn't be using using your time to do the things that you actually love to do. I know an entrepreneur that loves being an assistant. You know what she did? She opened up an assistant business, and she grew it to $20 million a year in revenue because she's such a good assistant. She loves being an assistant so much. She hired a crew of 100 assistants, and she's servicing hundreds of companies, providing assistance in the right process, because it's one of the biggest issues. I know you have an assistant. I have multiple assistants that help me with various different things. With my kids, I have an assistant for my kids. I have a personal assistant for my calendar. I literally have a calendar assistant. That's the person who booked our session here today. There's no way I would have ever had the time or the effort or the energy for me to even find you. And now I have a lifetime friend with you that's kind of like a brother from another mother.
Right.
So
similar cultures too.
And similar cultures too. Exactly.
So this is cool, because what I'm hearing here is that all the things that will basically take time away from you having the ideal lifestyle that you want, there is a delegation piece. But here's the biggest challenge with a lot of people who are one-man shows like we are. Like, what happens, and how did you learn to delegate? How did you learn to kind of say, okay, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to let someone else do this. How were you able to how did you learn to let that go?
In 2013, I wrote a quote, and this quote was mentioned in Inc. magazine next to the likes of Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and so on. And I wrote, micromanage the process, not the people. One day it just came to me. I put it on Twitter and it got picked up, and it became a viral quote. And what I realized is that people will be people. And unless I create the process for them, they're just going to go off and do their own thing. I also learned from a coach, I learned that trust is not a guarantee. People think that if I trust you, it means you're guaranteed to get results. No, trust means that I'm vulnerable and that I might get hurt, but I trust you because I took a calculated risk, and I allowed myself, by creating the right processes, to take the risk because I know you still might fail and not follow the process, but I freaking gave you a checklist. If you can't follow the checklist, lady or man or whoever, then we got a problem. Dog or whatever. The dog needs to follow a checklist, right? Jump over the hoop and I'll give you the snack. Jump over the hoop and I'll give you the snack. That's what ends up happening. The same thing with human beings. Human beings are habitual. If you can build the right processes for humans, then they're going to do the right thing. So it's up to me to create the processes. And when that clicked, I was like, delegation is now easy. Why? Because I'm not delegating things that are common sense, because common sense is not common practice. I want all CEOs, entrepreneurs, I want everyone to write that shit down. Common sense is not common practice. People think, oh my gosh, they should know it. My employees should know it. No, they shouldn't know anything. What you should do is stop shooting on people, and instead create a process and tell them the exact step-by-step process that you want them to take to bring you to success. And the less complicated the process is, the fewer the rules, the more likely people are going to follow it.
Yeah. And that's why I always say systems will set you free. Systems and processes will set you free.
But it's scary to be free. Freedom is a lonely place. Freedom is a lonely place. When you're actually free, when you actually see the responsibility that you have, that you are complete with yourself and you are complete with those that you love, and you're totally free, you'll realize, holy crap, I'm the only one that's free. Everyone's stuck in their head. Everyone's dead. And I'm walking around alive and in love and full of motivation. So now it's time for me to give back.
Right. So, because what are you going to do? You're just going to wander around, just watch how stuck everybody is and just like, well, I'm free. Well, want to go out and do something? I can't because I'm not free. It's like, oh.
Yeah. And that's why I love coaching and writing books and doing the stuff that I do. People are like, Joe, why are you bothering? Why don't you just go to the beach? I'm like, I can't do this when I see all the people suffering. Yeah. There's so many people that are suffering out there, and it's because they don't have the right strategy.
Are you walking on the beach going, what are you doing on the beach? Get free.
Get free. Do you want more power? Do you want more freedom? Do you want more vitality? Do you want to be able to express yourself openly and freely like you're with your best friend? And they're like, I want that. Yes. Buy my book.
While you're sitting there on the beach with your yarmulke beard and your Speedos, right?
Yeah, well, I love running on the beach in Florida or in San Diego. Yeah.
That's right. So tell me about the life then. Tell me about a little bit about, what your commitment, your conviction to creating success and being able to help others and creating that freedom. What is your lifestyle like? Because this is a lot of what I talk about is that, the mark of a true entrepreneur is that the more successful you are, the more freedom you have. And the more freedom you have, you train your business to support your lifestyle, not the other way around.
So for me, it's about literally doing what I want to do. What do I love doing? I love being in my man cave at least 2 to 3 times a week and just spending myself in my room with my toys, on the phone, doing my thing with my family. This is what I love doing. This is my life. This is what I enjoy doing more than anything else, is motivating, is connecting, is taking things to the next level. I love being there for my employees and giving them coaching, giving them strategy, supporting them in their personal and professional life so that they could take their career to the next level. I love recruiting. I love doing open houses. The way that I recruit is I invite 20 people to my office, 15 show up, 10 show up on time or a little early, and I give them the time of their life for about 15 to 20 minutes, and they have no questions after that. They're just fascinated. Then they go home, and whoever wants will email us, and we do an assessment. So I love recruiting. I love doing business development. I have a team of LinkedIn prospectors that go through LinkedIn and prospect for ideal potential clients and just get me on the phone every 15 to 20 minutes, which I love. There's nothing more that I love doing than talking to other business owners on the phone. So I have a team of people that are just putting me on the phone all day with people. And every available time that I have on my Calendly app, I have a tool that automatically allows people to select times to talk to me.
Yep.
And there's unlimited amounts of time. You can go to joeapfelbaum.com/talk. and pick a time to talk to me. It's on my LinkedIn. It's on my website. It's all over the place. And people are constantly calling me up, and I'm having amazing conversations, which is what I love doing. I love putting together networking events. So for me, it's about doing what I want to be doing. I love freestyle.
When you want to do it, right?
When I want to do it. So I don't want to work on Sunday. I want to be with my family. I want to do my thing. I used to have to work on Sunday, but I don't have to do anything. If I want to take off a week and go to California to visit my sister, I can do that because my team is handling the business. They have it. They have it down pat. If they want to call me, they can call me and ask me a question. But we have a big rubber duck in the office. And most of the time when they call me, I say, did you ask the duck? And they're like, what? They're like, yeah, you asked the duck. Yeah, they go ask the duck. The duck has the best answers. I learned it from Google. There's a big ass duck in their programming room. Somebody has a question. Instead of asking you the question, ask the duck. The duck has good answers. Usually when you articulate the question, you get the answer.
Right, exactly. Because otherwise the duck just sits and goes, why are you asking me that? You already know this. You know this.
Yeah. Most people have the answers. They just haven't asked the right question. Right. When you ask the right question, you realize the answer was there all along.
Right. So the key is taking the time to really, truly understand what you're asking for. And by the time you get to really kind of like honoring the fact that you're asking a question to somebody, then you say, wait a minute, I just answered my own question. It happens all the time in the coaching world.
Yeah, think about this concept called autosuggestion. What is autosuggestion? Autosuggestion here, I'm reading a book from Think and Grow Rich. Very, very powerful. Faith, love, and sex are the most powerful of all major emotions. When the three are blended, they have an effect of coloring the vibration of thought in such a way that it instantly reaches the subconscious mind. And that's the key. You need to reach your subconscious mind. If you want to really be successful, you need to break through your conscious mind, reach the habitual mind, and that's when things happen automatically. See, success happens automatically. It's your mindset that needs to shift so that you stop blocking everything that you want. And most people are afraid to look in the subconscious, and your conscious mind is not going to let you look there. It's not going to. Fear stops everything. You know what fear stands for? I always tell this to people. Fear stands for false evidence that appears real. False evidence that appears real. So, at the end of the days, we're going to find evidence that's false, by the way. We're going to find evidence to try to justify our lack of integrity.
Yeah,
we have a lack of integrity.
Yeah, whatever you look for, you will find. And the unconscious mind has a way of deleting certain things while you're in the process of looking for the quote unquote truth. You will find it no matter what. No matter what your belief system is, if you spend the time, you will find it. So you might as well look for something that will support you versus something that gets in the way.
Here's another example. I used to believe that I really sucked at rapping. Okay?
That's right. I was going to ask you. I was just going to ask you. You got a new toy, didn't you?
I got a new toy. Yo. I got a new toy. I got the beats going. See, as a rabbi, right? As a person who is a man of faith, and I look a certain way. And because I look a certain way, I don't want to like misrepresent my religion. I don't want to misrepresent myself. And for me, in my community, like rapping is like, what are you doing? Right? Judgment, right? What are you doing? Why don't you like act like a proper, like the proper way? And I'm like, dude, this is my proper way. Yo, check it out. Check it out. Yo, my name is Joe. I'm the Mojo Pro. I got it going on from my head to my toe. If you want SEO, if you want to go with the flow, yo, bring it down. My name is Joe. I'm the high energy. 1, 2, 3. High energy. 1, 2, 3. I got it going on, and my name is Way. Your name is Way. Every single day, if there's a will, there's a way. If you want to bring it, you got to do it. You got to take it. So what I love doing is
That's awesome. Yeah. That was another, I was wondering when you were going to pull that out, because we talked about it earlier and stuff like that. And it's so cool. And you got yourself a rap coach too, to kind of help you kind of accelerate the process of becoming better at it.
Once I learned the power of coaching, once I learned how powerful coaching is, I realized that I need a coach for everything that I want to do. So if I want to be a rapper, I need a rap coach to teach me how to ride the beat. If I want to learn comedy, I need to hire a comedy coach to teach me how to be a comedian. If I want to do public speaking, right? I want to be a keynote speaker. I need to hire the best coach, right? There's a book called Steal the Show by Michael Port. I need to find the best public speaking coach around to help me be able to prepare for a TED Talk or for whatever it is that I want to do. If I want to trade the market, I need to hire a trading coach to teach me how to properly trade the market. So I don't have to learn things on my own. I could afford to pay. And if I can't afford it, then
find a way to afford it.
Find a way to afford it. All my clients that have paid me for coaching, I used to coach people for free. For years, I would coach people for free, and they wouldn't change. They wouldn't make results. The second they made the investment in coaching, they started getting massive results. And the people that weren't willing to make the investments weren't committed to results. They just wanted to hear a new idea. And when the idea that they heard was something that they knew already, they just discounted it. They're like, I know that already. And obviously it doesn't work because I know it. I'm like, dude, knowledge is knowing. Yeah. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Applied knowledge, action is power.
Right. Right. That's where, because it's like potential, right? Potential, like the potential energy within a capacitor. If it sits there, it does nothing. But until you tap into that capacitor and let it flow within the system, that's when it's actually utilized.
Yeah. Yeah. Action. You got to have action. If you want satisfaction, you got to have action.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, this is so cool because, I talk about it all the time where when you have, you don't have to have a coach, but if you want to get somewhere, you want to go faster, there's nothing better than to get a coach to coach you on that process.
Right. So listen, at the end of the day is when I wanted to get abs, I needed to hire a coach to teach me how to do it. And he basically said, dude, it's not exercise, it's diet.
You're like, no,
that's crazy. I can't believe it. I always thought it was exercise. Like, no, all skinny people have abs. You just got to lose weight. They're built into your body. You're not going to get bigger abs that are going to bust through the fat. If you have a big fat 17-inch belly, it's not going to happen. Your abs are not going to bust through that. What you need to do is get rid of the fat. And he's like, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Same thing in business. You could have a $10 million business, but if you're $1 million in debt, that doesn't make a difference. I'd rather have a $3 million business that spits off $1 million in net profit every single year than have a $10 million business that loses $1 million a year, that has a 90%, cost of goods sold, that I'm barely making any money, and I have 20 employees and I have a 50K, per employee head, and I'm paying them all 75. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Right? You got to really understand that the biggest companies in the world, the Googles of the world, the Apples of the world, they have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in revenue per employee.
Yeah. And this reminds me of how important it is for the people who actually want to make money in this lifetime. It's kind of like playing a board game for the very first time. You could try to play it without reading the instructions, but at least know the game, the fundamentals. Doesn't mean you have to stay in doing the trench work the whole time, but at least know the fundamentals so you know how to create a system around it that supports your business, right?
It's so cool that you're saying that, because so many times in my life I did not want to get help from anybody else or get directions. I'm driving somewhere. I'm like, I got this. I'll figure it out. I'm good at getting lost. And I could just look at the map or ask somebody for but I'm not willing to stop, because men don't ask for directions. I'm a man. I'm going to figure it out. So I cut a left and a right. And before you know it, I'm out of gas. And I'm lost in some place in LA, and I shouldn't be there.
With the yarmulke, looking like a rabbi.
And I got the music going on, and I'm like, just like, yo, I bump in the jam with the last part of the battery. I'm like, yo, my name is Joe. I'm the B2B sales pro. I do 10x conversions. I make it rain. You should hire me so I can solve your pain. I do seminars and webinars about lead gen. I run a company called Ajax Union. Okay, we should pause that, because
and then what happens? And then you step out and you're like in the middle of Compton. You're like, hey guys, what's happening?
Hey, hi everybody. And they're like, do you want some? I was like, fine, I'll take two.
Okay. All right, cool. So there's so much going. I love everything that you were talking about, and it's so good to have this shit. I mean, lately we've been having a variety of different types of entrepreneurs on here, but to have someone like you with the level of energy you have, and that dichotomy of going from rabbi to like a multi-millionaire status, to have the lifestyle and still kind of embrace every part of your own culture and have your unique expression in the world. It's a great way to inspire people to like, hey, you can forge your own path. Use money in the way that actually helps you create your own mark in the world, which is a lot of what you're doing. The Mojovation group, the rapping that you're going to, the comedy work that you're doing, the life that you had, the 5 kids you're raising, the beautiful kids. I only saw one and she's cute, so I can't even imagine what the other ones look like.
Go on my Instagram. They're all on my Instagram.
All right, cool. I'll go to your Instagram. And I think there's some areas that you and I will continue to play together. So for those that are in my community, my breakthrough program, and I am going to bring this guy in to kind of share some of his motivation to get you guys going. So now, believe it or not, we're getting close to the end of this broadcast. So what I like to do is give you an opportunity for those that have listened, they're inspired, they're motivated, they're mojovated, and they want to connect with you more. How do they best connect with? What are the different ways that people can connect with you?
So one of my favorite ways to connect with people is on LinkedIn. I have a whole LinkedIn prospecting team where we prospect for people on LinkedIn. So I highly recommend people check out my content on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Joe Apfelbaum. I have a website, joeapfelbaum.com. And on the homepage of the website, I have a place for you to put to join my newsletter. I've been sending out a weekly newsletter for the past 220 weeks. Mm-hmm. So if you go in there, put in your email, you could subscribe to my newsletter. I have a Facebook group that's on joeapfelbaum.com. I have join the Facebook group. I have 556 entrepreneurs that are part of it. I do about 10 minutes of motivation every single day in the group. So it's kind of like a free coaching group where I'm helping people take their life and their business to the next level. We do a book review every month. It's a lot of fun. And my company's Ajax Union. So go check out my company, ajaxunion.com. We have a lot of great things on there, a lot of great knowledge. I interview Inc. 5000 business owners on there. I have a really great podcast. So look, for me, it's all about how can I add value to your life? If you're stuck, if you have a question, if you want to reach out to me, if you want to schedule a call with me, go on joeapfelbaum.com and you can check out all my stuff that's going on there. And buy my book on Amazon. I have a book called High Energy Secrets. If you want to be able to have more energy, if you want to get motivated, I have amazing stuff in here. I have like my 7 daily habits that I think about every day. Everything from getting on the scale and measuring to drinking a certain amount of water. I talk about how big your bladder is in case you're worried about going to the bathroom. I teach you the tricks of the trade. And I actually have a really cool porta potty with a female adapter. If you're interested, I can tell you more about that. I teach you how to burn fat instead of sugar. I teach you all the different things that I learned, how to get up. I have a morning routine. I have all this really great stuff. And for me, it's about how can I make your life better? What can I do? I'm coming from a place of giving. So for me, I made it. I'm already on the other side. So for me, it's like, how can I add value? I feel completely, totally free. I feel totally happy. For me, the only thing that I'm unhappy with is watching so many people suffer because they lack a strategy. I have this amazing digital marketing strategy bootcamp on ajaxunion.com/bootcamp. I have a goal setting masterclass. I have a networking masterclass where I teach people how to go from a schmo to a networking pro. So I have a lot of things going on, but if there's one thing that I can tell every single person to do is literally just freaking be you. Just be yourself. Just share your deepest truth. Find out what excites you and share that with me, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. Tell me what excites you. I want to hear what gets you motivated, what gets you excited, because ultimately what gets you excited will get more people that are like you excited too. And that's how you create a revolution. That's how you make a difference in the world. You see, I used to be afraid of expressing myself because I was afraid I would get rejected. And the fact is, you're going to get rejected from people that are allergic to you. And you're going to get loved from people that are addicted to you. But only if you start being yourself. Because if you're mainstream, if you're right in the middle, the people that love you won't notice you, and the people that hate you won't notice you. But once you start becoming you and opening up, suddenly the people that love you notice you and love you. The people that hate you are going to hate on you because really they just hate on themselves. So if you can truly be authentic, you'll be able to make a difference for those that actually care about you, love you, and want to be inspired by you. So I always tell this to the people that I care about. And those are the people that want to change, the people that are hungry entrepreneurs that want to go from frustration to motivation, is be yourself, express yourself, and your story matters.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. So many gemstones just in that little soliloquy right there. I mean, just being unabashedly you. That's basically kind of like the biggest piece. You know, when I used to do those sales workshops and everything like that, at the end of the day, it's all about being authentically you. I mean, you just put it so eloquently, so lovely there. I mean, you probably have it written somewhere, or maybe not. Maybe you're just rapping it out in lyrical format.
I've said it so many times, but yes, I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough.
Right.
Be yourself. Share yourself.
Right. So how do you, one more thing. I mean, if people are going and they're shooting to be on the other side, what's one way? I mean, how do you know when you've gone to the other side? What are some of the checkpoints that you identified, and a lot of people to sit there and go, oh, because sometimes people just like bowling along and it's like, wait, they don't even know they're on the other side already, and they just keep going and going and going.
Right. So my question is, are you frustrated? Are you frustrated? What is frustrating you in your life? If you follow your frustration, it will lead you to your greatest fear. And when you have the courage to challenge your greatest fear, and you're willing to work on yourself to be able to turn that fear around and be able to be brave enough to take massive action to change your life and the lives of the people around you, then suddenly, boom, your life explodes and you start realizing that, holy crap, I'm free. Your freedom only has to do with your frustration. If you're angry, if you're frustrated, if you're depressed, if you're sad, if you feel like there's a lack in your life, if you feel like there's scarcity, there's not enough, you're jealous, if you feel constant rejection or whatever you're feeling, like you're not enough or that you should be a lot further in life right now, any of those feelings indicate that you're frustrated. And if you want to go from frustration to motivation, you got to be willing to challenge your greatest fears and get uncomfortable. And if you can do that, and you have the right coach working with you or the right mentor working with you, or you're reading the right books, which is kind of like coaching and mentoring, and you're challenging yourself and you're becoming a little more aware, and you have the right strategy, and you take on accountability and responsibility for your own life, that's how you're going to be better. So one way to know if you're not there yet is if you're super frustrated. If you're I wake up in the morning, I jump out of bed and I say, I'm so motivated. And I do it quietly so my wife doesn't wake up, right? I do that quietly.
So what does it sound like when I do it quietly? I'm so motivated.
And then I walk outside and I go for a 3-mile run, and then I do a video on Facebook and on Instagram and on LinkedIn, and I'm like all like my energy's all into that, and I'm just so complete. I'm just so happy. I'm just so like, it's like her, right? She's just like doing her thing. Look at her. She's like playing with the piano and she's living her life. So what if she shat her freaking diaper and it smells here? So what? Like some of us, we're all concerned about stuff, and she's sitting there, she has a dirty diaper, and she's like, I'm cool. I'm cool. When I get changed, I'll get changed. In the meantime, let me see what happens if I push this button.
Yeah, and it's nice and warm anyway. So in case it's too cold, you know, I'll keep my butt warm.
Keep my butt warm.
Yeah, that's the one way to do it.
Us entrepreneurs, we walk around shitting ourselves all the time, and we're shooting on ourselves where we should be, right? I should be doing this. I should be doing that. That person shouldn't have said that, and that shouldn't have happened, and that's not fair, and I knew that was going to happen, and all this stuff that bends us out of shape. If you're out of shape right now, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, in any which way, there's a sign right there. If you're not comfortable with that, if you're frustrated, that's a sign that you can grow. And if you're not growing, you are dying. And the worst thing, what's worse than dying, is realizing that you never really lived. That's worse than dying. Living your whole life and realize, holy crap, I never took a chance. People don't regret the screw-ups. People regret the fact that they didn't try. Ask Warren Buffett. You know what he said? He said, my biggest regret was not when I lost money. It's when I didn't invest and risk, and then I didn't make money. I had so many opportunities to make. This is the billionaire, the guy that's the richest in the world. He regrets not taking a bigger risk because he would have been a trillionaire faster. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So what I love hearing this is that you could have easily structured your talk today, your interview today, by saying, I made it here and stuff like that. But that little nugget that you threw in there and said, you know, I was doing it on my own. I was making money. And then I got that Vistage coach. You know, I got that little bit of support, and it broke everything open. And it gave you the opportunity to really step up to your own self. It's not like, and realizing that it doesn't have to be all about you. It could be about you and everybody else that you impact because you become more successful.
And that's the next level. If you want the next level for yourself, it's about other people, because there's only a limit that we could have for ourselves. Contribution is the ultimate fulfillment. There's different levels of your needs getting met. There's like having certainty and security in your life, and there's feeling important, and there's love, and there's adventure, and there's so many different things you could have in your life. But ultimately, when it boils down to, progress equals happiness and fulfillment, true spiritual fulfillment that's lasting. It's about adding value to other people and contributing. And this is kind of like the epicenter of Judaism, is all about v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. That means love your fellow man like yourself. Contribute, tzedakah, which means charity. Contribute. We give charity 3 times a day. It's part of our lifeblood. It's all about giving back. And for me, I am a servant leader. I am here to serve and committed to taking your life and your business to the next level.
Awesome. I'm going to end with that, because that was just so powerful. And the fact that you brought in, you know, your previous life as a rabbi in training, and bringing that and weaving that into what it is that you do every day here to kind of basically save so many lives, especially as entrepreneurs and stuff like that. We need more of you in this world with the energy and everything like that. So hopefully I see more of that happening.
Did you just say you need more of Joe, like Mojo, like more Joe, like Mojo?
More Joe. Is that what the motivation is? Is more Joe?
Part of it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Joe, thank you so much. I have a sneaking suspicion we'll probably have you back on when we're talking about some other specific topic, but I think this is a great introduction for our community and for our audience to kind of hear about you. Definitely would love to have you come into the fold of the Six Figure Academy a little bit more. Any last things before we kind of start to sign off a little bit and get off the air?
Very simple. If you don't drink water, you will not have energy. Drink half your weight in ounces. That's it. That's the one thing I want you to take away from this. Drink more water. Buy this book. And that bell meant the market just closed.
Nice. The market just closed on that. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and close today's show. So thank you, Joe. That's our show for the week. Again, if you found this episode to be valuable and know of someone else that could benefit, and if you can't think of someone else, go out there and meet more people, because there's so many gemstones. I have to go back and listen to this again just so I can hear all the cool stuff that Joe, kind of spit out both in his rap and everything that he talked about. So if you hear anything that anybody else can benefit from this, take it out today, share it, review us on Spreaker, you review us on iTunes, like the episode on YouTube. And did you know we even have a Facebook group called The Money Lab, just like the name of the show. So after you join Joe's group at Mojovation, join the Facebook group if you haven't already, called The Money Lab, and join us there to dive even deeper into the bad money story and elimination strategies that was like what was shared today by Joe. So again, Joe, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing all the gemstones of wisdom of the path and journey. You didn't have to do this, but you're doing it every single day because you're already there and you're helping to bring more people over there to have that big old party on your side of town, right?
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me on the show, and I'm going to go change a diaper now. I'll see you guys soon.
All right, bud. All right, cool. So that's a wrap. And take this week to apply the knowledge from today. Have an amazing week. And we'll catch you next week on the Money Lab Live podcast, where we will have creator of the Wild Soul movement and entrepreneur, Elizabeth D'Alto. This is Wei and Joe from the Six Figure Academy signing off.
Yay! We did it. Yay! Say yay. Say yay. All right. Thank you very much, Wei. I got to hop on my next call. I'll see you soon.
All right, bud. We'll talk soon.
I appreciate you very much. Bye.
Okay.